What's up, guys? Wednesday night. The red light is on. I forgot to put on my ring light, by the way, so I'm super dark. My head is crazy right now. Guys, L. Dawson, I'm Dave Van Auken. L, it's Wednesday night. It's Ben and Bananas. What's up? How are you?
I'm so pumped about this card. I'm not pumped about giving you guys betting picks, though. I'm not going to lie. This is a really difficult card to bet.
Ooh.
It's tough.
Didn't you and I already make a banana pick already on Tuesday's show? Did we do that?
Did we? I think you and Maddie made a banana bet.
Me and Maddie.
I was like, I don't know about that.
Okay.
I did say that I was going to fight you on everything today, though. I don't know if I'm going to commit to that or not, but I was feeling extra combative yesterday. I'm not sure where that came from.
Okay. Hey, I'm here for it. But guys, it's UFC Saudi Arabia show. It's awesome. It's on ABC during the day, during Saturday. So if you guys think you're going to watch something Saturday night at 10 p.m. or 9 p.m. on the East Coast, it's not. It's going to be over. The prelims start at noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. on the West Coast. Main card kicks off at 3 p.m. So we'll be on during the day. Big time main event. We all know Chimaev is out of this card, but still a very high-level main event in the middleweight division. But before we get into X's and O's, El, I told you off air I had a little bit of a curveball for you. We're going to start here. The UFC is the hood ornament of mixed martial arts. They've done so well for so many fighters, people in the industry, media members, so on and so on. How important is this relationship with the UFC in Saudi Arabia? It's the first show ever in Saudi Arabia. They already signed 2 more fights going forward, both fight nights coming in the next 12 months, not a pay-per-view. I know the PFL already had a tournament. Dude, looks like Saudi Arabia is going to maybe try to save boxing. Long story short, how important is it for the UFC in Saudi Arabia to have a good working relationship?
It's just good business, Dave. Like it really is. I think PFL was like trying to kind of dig into that market. You know, they're doing the North Africa, Middle East league that they're doing. And I think the UFC was like, you know what, we got to hop on this. They saw all the money coming into boxing from Saudi Arabia.
Right.
You're seeing Gamebred partnering up with some Saudi Arabia. You know, I really think that it's just smart. Like, it's the right move. There's so much money there. I'm not going to lie. I don't love it. I think we already got some really poor reffing and stoppages and just everything in Abu Dhabi earlier this year. We're seeing one of the same fighters that got very interesting treatment from a ref in Abu Dhabi. We're seeing that same fighter on this Saudi Arabian card. So I think that there are going to be some issues in that wheelhouse that are unavoidable when you're loading up a Saudi Arabian card with fighters from that region. So I do think we're going to run into that. Interested to see, especially with Naimov on the card again, how many fouls we get.
Right. Okay. So what I got from you, you think it's great business, but you think there's only so many good referees and commissions and good minds in the game already. We already have a problem in Las Vegas, which is the fight capital of the world. So you're saying bringing it out in the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, it just brings trouble. There's just too much going on. Is that what I get?
I don't know. I guess I'm just a little weary. I think it's specifically this fighter. It's specifically Naimov. Like, the dude should have had at least 2 points taken away against Nathaniel Wood. That was such a poor display from the ref and the commission on that fight, just overall. So I'm interested to see if we see any repeats of that.
Okay. Real quick, my man, Sean Sterling, congratulations to your Celtics. She's on the left side of the screen. She was in the stream first and early and on time. I've been all over the place today. It's been a mess here in the Van Auken life, but we're trying to make it. We're here for you. We're live like every single day in there.
I never beat Dave here, guys. Never beat Dave here. I get on like 2 minutes before the stream starts every single time with my snacks.
Any dip with those chips or just the chip?
Some hummus.
Hummus. Okay. Well played. All right. Well, there's a lot of fights I do want to get into and all that stuff, but let's start with how we always do. Best bet on the board. Let's win money, keep the train moving. What's your best bet of UFC Saudi Arabia?
Let me chew.
All
right. I have to go straight to the main event, Dave. I have to here because Robert Whittaker is simply being disrespected on these betting lines. I love Ikram. I think Ikram is a fantastic fighter, and I think he is. How nuts would it be though if Ikram is his third UFC fight? If Ikram
he
wins,
could do it. He could, and
he can't. He absolutely has this skill.
Yes.
But I think that this is just such a huge step up from Warlley Alves, a career welterweight, to arguably the almost best middleweight for years. And I can agree that maybe Whittaker isn't quite as good as he was, 3-4 years ago, but I haven't seen that yet. Like Costa has explosive power. I think Costa's capable of catching anybody. I don't think him catching Whittaker at the end of that first round is, the writing is on the wall for Robert Whittaker by any means. Can Ikram get this done? Absolutely. How are the betting lines reflecting what they should be? Absolutely not. The fact that we are getting like Robert Whittaker at under -200 at a main event for super short notice for Ikram Aliskerov, because it is super short notice. No matter how talented Ikram is, this is very short notice. Ikram can win this fight in the first 2 rounds because he has that explosive power and he is not afraid to fight. And he has fantastic defensive wrestling. So like we've seen Whittaker wrestle in the past. He doesn't always use it, but he absolutely can. Khamzat Chimaev could not take Ikram Aliskerov down. He did knock him out, but he could not get him down. That is his only loss on his record. He absolutely has the tools to beat Robert Whittaker. I would like to see that fight, though, with a full camp and maybe with a few stepping stone opponents between Warlley Alves and Robert Whittaker. So for me, I have to take Robert Whittaker as my best bet on this card. At the value that it's at, it's incredible value.
I agree. Like, we all love Ilia Topuria. Maybe, one of the most high-level fighters on the planet right now, but Ilia had steps. There was a very important matchups for him to keep on seasoning himself. That Josh Emmett fight was really, really important. And it seems like Ikram is just skipping 3 steps here. It's like, third fight, main event versus Whittaker.
Maybe 5.
It's like, wow, this is wild. But and just real quick, and I know, we hit on Chimaev really quickly. We talked a lot about him yesterday's show. I loved Whittaker against Chimaev. I don't know why. It was more of a gut feeling too. I really loved Whittaker as an underdog against Chimaev. There's just something about, to me, if Chimaev didn't put Whittaker away early, I felt like just Whittaker would have just dogged him in the 4th and 5th round. Just would have like kind of what Usman was doing to Chimaev at the end of the 3rd. Whittaker, to me, is more of that. Like, he's more in his prime than Usman, and I just thought he would have done that earlier. So I loved Whittaker. He's been in this camp. He's been in this main event spot for 2 months, 3 months against a tougher opponent. I love Whittaker in this spot. And again, Ikram can win this fight. It's not. I'm not doing a guarantee thing. I think one of my guarantees was it was Pantoja against Usyk. I'm not doing that. I just love the value. I think 100%. Whittaker should be like a -280, 275. The last thing I saw was like -140, 135. It's wild.
And I would like, if you guys really, really like Ikram here, like there's a ton of value there as well. Like I would even play 2 parlays if you're feeling froggy. But just the value. I agree with you. I think that these lines were kind of wild. I was very surprised to see Vegas setting that. I don't know if it's because it's in the Middle East and that's why they're favoring Aliskerov here. Phil, so I unfortunately am not allowed to bet because the UFC does not let spouses bet on UFC fights, but Dave does sometimes. But I just like to give my picks, so I will.
Phil, you trying to talk trash, Phil? You trying to talk trash, Phil? Dean Toole with probably the best message on there. Nice shirt. Absolutely. Dude, August 9th? Island Fights make a mega show back at the Pensacola Bazaar. Cannot wait. Big fight announcement today by Mr. Dean Toole. Shout out to him. But there we go. That's August 9th. All right, that's your best bet on the board. Couple underdogs. Is there an underdog you like on the card? There was one or two I was going back and forth on. Let me see if it's the same one. I think actually we might be on the same playing field on this one. Who do you got as an underdog?
I didn't love a whole lot of the dogs on this card, to be
Yeah, I don't like a
completely
lot.
honest. I think like there's value in a couple, but some of the lines are so close that if I'm leaning towards the favorite, there's just not a whole lot of value. The only one I
Right.
saw that I really kind of like is actually D-Rod. I kind of like Daniel Rodriguez here against Kelvin Gastelum. I'm not super confident in this pick. I know he's on a 2-fight skid, but he does tend to do well with strikers that aren't like super long or have it super crazy, like Ian Gary power. You know, I don't think Kelvin Gastelum has the power to put him away. He absolutely has like an incredible pace. And that's how Kelvin Gastelum beats people, is just by putting this pace on people. But D-Rod has really solid cardio. And he throws great volume with his boxing. I really like his boxing. He had a super close fight with the Leech, who I think very highly of. Like I said, I'm not like uber confident in this, but at over plus 200, I like D-Rod here. I think it's a fight that he absolutely can win. He can keep that pace with Kelvin Gastelum. I think sometimes Kelvin Gastelum gets a little bit ahead of himself. Like we saw it a couple times in the Chris Curtis fight, where he was in really, really good spots and he almost like over scrambled and put himself back in a worse position. And I think D-Rod, you know, he's a veteran. Like he's fought some really, really good guys and beat a lot of really good guys. So I like him here. I would like Felipe Lima if this fight was anywhere else. And he was a little bigger, because he's not even a big 35er. So I think the short notice, he's really talented though. Really, really talented fighter. And Felipe Lima. Naimov he's a legit fighter. Like I definitely think there were a lot of issues with the fouls against Nathaniel Wood, but he's very well rounded. He's big, like he's a big guy. This is at 145. Lima's not a huge 35er, so it's like maybe sprinkle a little on there because anything can happen. But I'm not uber confident in that either.
Jared Gordon plus 200.
I think it's a tough stylistic matchup for him. He can win. Gordon can outvet a lot of people.
Yes.
But Nasrat has looked really good. And I just think it's the style. I think the style is tough for him.
Okay. This is Christopher J in here. I like that. Must win for Kevin Gastelum. Yeah, he might be in Bellator Dublin if he doesn't win this fight.
So?
He
might. You really think so?
He makes a ton of money, and people don't understand this. There's a lot of business to it. It's not like he can't hang in the UFC anymore or he shouldn't be there. But when you make a ton of money and you kind of are on that little bit of the losing skid,
and you're like 2-6 in your last 8. Oof.
Yeah. It's like, are you going to pay? I don't want to talk his business. Are you going to pay that man $300,000 to fight next? It's like, why?
No, I guess that makes sense. That's tough because he's one of those guys that's so exciting, but he's also not a guy that can like step in short notice a lot. And those are the guys they tend to keep on hand, even if they make a lot and are up and
Cowboy
down.
Cerrone would be there forever if he wanted to.
Gastelum gets sick. He pulls out sometimes, you know, like he gets staph. He has a lot of those little like spots on his record. So I see what you're saying. Yeah. Which that's really unfortunate because he's been around so long.
That fight against Izzy is one of the greatest interim title fights of all time. If you haven't seen that fight, go back, watch it. Israel Adesanya, Kevin Gastelum, fantastic fight. All right, 3-fight parlay. I hope you mentioned this fight or fighter. If not, I will give him his flowers at the end because I loved him in this spot. Probably my best bet on the board. You know how much I love Bobby Knuckles, Robert Whittaker. But let's see if you say his name in the 3-fight parlay. El Dawson, what do you got?
All right. First one, I actually have Nasrat Haqparast against Jared Gordon. Okay. I do. I know you brought up Gordon. I like Jared a lot, but I think his speed, boxing, the footwork, the output, I think it's going to give Gordon some problems. Okay. I don't think Jared Gordon necessarily has the wrestling to really enter in and get Nasrat down. So I feel like it's just style wise, I think this is going to be a tough matchup for Gordon. It's not a fight he can't win, but I really like Nasrat here. And I think it's good value as well, especially as a parlay piece. I also love my second leg is going to be Johnny Walker. I'm not a big Johnny Walker better. He tends to be somebody
he is a hard guy to bet on.
I should say picker, not better, but he tends to be somebody I fade, but man, every time I fade him, I'm wrong. So it's he's one of those guys that's just he's very unique and he's very explosive. And I will say I commend how much more clean he is in fights as of late. I think he fights a lot smarter and much lower risk. And I just think that Volkan's older. You know, like if this fight were a few years ago, I don't think I would hesitate to pick Ozdemir here. But I feel like she's just slowed down just a little bit. I don't think he has that fast twitch. I think the first thing some of these fighters lose when they age is their speed. And I think that's a really tough thing to struggle with against a guy like Johnny Walker, who is very fast and very explosive and very dangerous. And I think he can capitalize on those moments, especially with this being, we can all assume, pretty much a striking match. I don't expect either guy to engage in a whole lot of grappling.
It's a kickboxing fight.
I think Walker is going to get this done. I really like him in this spot, and the odds are great. They're pretty much even money.
Yeah, minus 115, the last thing I saw.
100%, yeah. So I like that a lot. And then my third leg, I'm going to go with Sergey Pavlovich here.
Yes, there you go. That's the name. Yes.
I think he's being a little overlooked. Like people aren't talking about him.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of people picking Volkov, and I understand Volkov's this really long, rangy fighter, but I think everybody forgets something about Sergey Pavlovich, and that's that he's almost as long as Volkov. And people don't realize it because his arms are just that long. Like they're too long for his body. And people, they misinterpret his range. Crazy long arms. They misinterpret his range and they think they're safe and they still get hit. And Volkov has been knocked out. I think the awkward angles that Pavlovich's punches come from remind me of a Derek Lewis-esque punch as well. And I just feel like the way that Sergey covers distance, the way he throws, I think Volkov is going to end up in some bad spots and get clipped and knocked out here. I think Sergey is the guy that beats everybody that isn't a Tom Aspinall or a John Jones. Like,
I agree.
And it's not that he can't beat those guys.
And he can beat them if he gets that punch.
100%. But he beats everybody below that. He's very good. And he's very hard to read.
So when this fight was announced, I love Sergey. I just think I'm a sucker for Sergey Pavlovich. I know he lost to Tom Aspinall. It's been for like this 2-3 year run. Like, dude, anyone who melts through people, there's something about when you can put another heavyweight away in 40 seconds. He's done it 8 times. There's just something about it. He's just a machine. So then he got the L to Aspinall. So now I know it sounds so weird, and maybe you will really understand this L, or maybe you're like, Dave, you're way too thinking about it. I wanted to see him. Like, I wanted to see his physique in his UFC gear afterwards, because he's coming off a loss. He can be like, hey, this fight doesn't mean as much. It's not a championship fight. Like, I want to just see where he was mentally or physically to be like, I'll be fine. It's not as much. You can tell he took it. He looks phenomenal. This is the best shape I've ever seen him. Like, ever. He looks incredible. Bigger than ever. You can never think Sergey Pavlovich is bigger. He's bigger. I just think he's one of those guys. He got the L against Aspinall. I think he wants that fight back. Like, some people will say they want the fight back, but really don't. He really wants that fight back. I think he's going to run through Volkov. And I think he's minus like 230, 235. I think that's like one of the steals of the night. I think he's I hate to say this in heavyweight division, but he's a lock. I think Sergey is a lock Saturday.
No, I agree. I like it. I really think he's overlooked quite often. Like, I think he was overlooked before, like, the Curtis Blades fight. I think he's overlooked just because he was overlooked
against Tai Tuivasa. Like everyone thought Tai Tuivasa was going to smash him.
Everybody loves Tai Tuivasa more than they should, just because he drinks beer out of shoes. So I'm with you there.
And I think that's a great call, Sean. If Sergey wins this fight, I think he fights Curtis or Gon, or like he fights one of those three guys there, or Almeida. And then like one of those guys fight for the championship, like later in 2025.
No, I agree. Man, I think he could do some damage to Almeida.
Oh, I think Sergey Pavlovich beats everyone right now except for Aspinall. And I know you might be like, Dave, I'm going too far. I think he really wants that rematch. I don't know. There's something about it.
I think I can't imagine him being afraid of any fight. I just don't think that's his style.
I'm picking Yuri to defeat Alex in a week from now. I just think there's something about that side of the world, about like the rematch factor, and like there's just like they just can't live. They can't sleep right until they get that one back. Like us Americans, we're lazy. We're like, that guy beat me. That's fine. It's all right.
It's that clip where he's like, he was simply the better man. Yeah. He beat me fair and square. I don't have to fight that guy anymore.
Yep. He's a heavy. See you later. So I think Sergey gets it done. Crazy. All right. There we go. No more comments or questions. If not, we're probably going to roll. I know. Oh, Sean, you're the best, man. He keeps us busy. Him and Gon are like 2A and 2B. I feel it's so close. I agree. I just think, I just think he's a killer. Like I don't know.
Gon's hard to track down, but I think Sergey's just so much more dangerous in that matchup.
Yeah. I think Sergey's out to prove he's still a contender. Yeah, I totally agree. Hammer's gone. We said that. Alex isn't losing. Dude.
I'm with you, Chris.
Yuri's winning that fight. I'm telling you. I got Yuri, Prohasek, and
I don't think we're gonna have to send a banana hat to Maddie.
Crazy. We are doing a UFC watch along, guys. Next Saturday night, UFC 303. L. Dawson might be jumping through. We'll see. I don't know. I haven't asked her yet.
I will come on for a little bit. It's so hard because that's like Grant's like always invites people over to our house to watch the fights, and I feel rude. I like run in my room and like lock myself in there so I can like talk to you guys.
Well, you might be here live.
Oh, that's true. You might be there, so I won't have to worry about Grant's friends.
You're such an asshole. All right. Just off topic to see Ryan Garcia. Dude, Ryan Garcia is a crazy 27-year-old boxer. I don't anything he puts on Twitter, I don't read or care about, so that's that. But I did see he's probably really going to get suspended because of his drug banned substance from his last fight. I don't know. I think Gon's better. No, I think Gon is probably a better technical striker. It doesn't care. It's like Sergey's going to walk through him.
Like, I don't think it matters for Sergey. He beats guys that are more technical strikers than him because he has more power and the range. It's the freaking range.
Exactly. There you go.
Long ass arms. But
all right. So L. Dawson's best bet: Robert Whittaker, underdog Daniel Rodriguez, 3-5 parlay: Basharat, Walker, and Sergey Pavlovich. I bet you that's a good 3-fight parlay because Walker's
the value should be pretty solid. Yeah, I think the biggest favorite in there is
Nasruddin at minus like 230, I think. Yeah. So that's very good. Guys, we have Boxing Bananas one more time later on this week. And then I think that we might be done. And then it's coffee with Maddie and Elle this Sunday.
Are we doing a Friday roundup again? We haven't done that in a while.
You want to do it?
Yeah, let's do a weekly roundup.
All right. MMA weekly roundup Friday afternoon, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. I just locked it in.
Just pick the time. All right. I think I can make that work. Yeah, that should be fine.
We'll make it work. All right, guys. L. Dawson, Dave Van Auken, we're out. Appreciate all of our sponsors, especially HKA. Go to HKA USA. Put in our promo code BANANAS20 for 20% off. We are out. Elle is signing up for Marsha. I know, dude. She is the.
This is my everyday now. Let's be real.
I know, dude. I liked it. She just made a post. She's working 9 to 5. Fight Bananas, making the bread, dude. You got to see her bill at the end of the month, guys. Elle Dawson's bill for Fight Bananas is massive. All right. Later, guys. Have a good night. We'll see you guys tomorrow. That's it. We're done.